Hello, everybody. It's Jen Ferguson here with Artistic Painting Studio. Join me for another fun project. We are going to make a really cute door hanger for our front door. I'm really excited about doing this sign because I am in love with this beech wood foil. It looks like an old piece of wood that has been chipped and crackled, and it just has so much character. So I think this will be a great door hanger. Okay, first thing is I know this foil is going to look good over the natural MDF. So I don't even have to prime or paint this because it is a really solid, high quality MDF, okay? So we're gonna use the Artsyville Embellishments foil adhesive. This is designed for all of our hard surfaces. I have taken some out and put it onto a foam plate because I feel it's always easier to work off of a plate. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, if you find that you're starting to use your adhesive and it's not brushing maybe as smooth as you'd like, feel free to grab a little bit of water and just add a tiny bit to your adhesive and stir it in. And what's great when you're working off of a foam plate, you can do that, okay? Don't add the water directly to the container because you don't want to contaminate it, the entire jar. So just add a little bit of water as necessary, and then we're just going to coat the entire project with one layer of the foil adhesive. And as you can see, once I get it going on here, I'm trying to smooth out and make my brush strokes a little bit neater. The one thing about the foil adhesive is it doesn't self-level. So that means there are times where our brush strokes can be seen through some of the foils. So we just want to make sure that we're applying the adhesive neatly. So once you get it on there, just smooth out your brush strokes and try to go from one end to the other. That is also going to keep it looking really well. Once you get the foil adhesive on, and as you can see, it is milky white to start with. The adhesive will dry completely clear and will look clear and shiny when it's dry. I do recommend that you give it a good 30 minutes, and a lot of that happens to how much dry time you really need depends on your environment. If it's humid where you are, realize you're going to have to take a little bit more time for the foil adhesive to dry. If it's real dry environment where you are, you've got the air conditioning on, a fan, oscillating fan working in the room, it probably will set up quicker. But don't force it with a blow dryer or a heat gun, just let it dry on its own. I do recommend no less than 30 minutes, but realize that the foil adhesive, once it dries to a firm tack, it's never going to dry beyond that. So you just want to make sure it's dry. If I can't get back to this for a couple hours or even till tomorrow, it will be fine. It will never dry beyond that firm tack. So get it on here. Make sure you have full coverage. If you don't have any adhesive somewhere, you're not going to end up with any transfer. So if you feel like your edges are a little thin, and I just felt like mine were, okay, I'm just going to come back and again, brush over that area and just make sure that I've got complete coverage. I'm going to quit playing with this and we're going to let it sit up and dry, and we'll be back for the foil transfer. While we're waiting for that foil adhesive to dry, we might as well get going on our Hello cutout. And this was just purchased from, I believe, Michael's, okay? I think they have the wood pile brand. So I'm just going to remove that little tag, and I have picked a couple of Americana acrylic colors, khaki and burnt umber, because I thought these would look pretty and complement our foil. So we're going to start off by using the khaki and put on a full coat, and then I think I'm probably just gonna add a little bit of the brown for just a simple distressed finish. And you can paint any color you want. I'm trying to keep this kind of simple, and we'll probably add a little splash of color, maybe with all of our ribbons, okay? Since we've got more stuff to add. Now, I like to keep the edge just natural, or you can also paint that as well. If you're like me and you just want to paint just the top edge, I find a sponge brush works best for this because I can pounce the paint on top and keep it from getting too thick and running down the sides or getting onto the sides. So just pounce it on. If you don't like the stippled effect from pouncing, you can just lightly brush it to kind of work out those brush strokes. But I find that pouncing with all product, if you're working with paint, if you were going to foil this as well, it helps to keep it on the top edge and not get onto the sides. Okay, so we're just going to need a little bit more paint, and I think we're going to grab a blow dryer, okay, and speed through this process of just getting our paint on here. That's one thing about working with acrylics. Okay, we can speed things up a little bit. Okay, let's grab that blow dryer. Okay, at this point, I am going to critique, and I want to make sure that I have full coverage. And then we're going to test this again with our foil. We can get this roll open and determine if I want to go darker or if I want to go maybe a little bit lighter, but I think that color is going to look really good on there. Okay, so we might just do a little bit of the khaki. Okay, I always change my mind. Okay, when you see things dry is when I feel like things come together. I'm going to use a little bit of white. So I'm going to go lighter instead of darker on this. And I'm going to mix a little white into the khaki. And I'm using what's called a filbert. Okay, let's see if I can say that word correctly. A filbert brush, which is stiffer like a stencil brush. And I think I just want to dry brush a little bit of this on there. So we'll remove the excess paint from my brush and then just dry brush a little bit. Kind of make it a little bit weathered as well. And if that's not light enough, I can add a little bit more of the white so that I have enough contrast, okay? And you do want to make sure your brush is pretty dry for this technique. Otherwise, you're going to have big, wet streaks going. So every time you load some paint, you want to go back to that paper towel and offload it to a point where it almost seems ridiculous, because you should have to work for the paint, okay? And I can keep coming back and adding a little bit more here and there just to get that contrast. So when you create a dry brush, it definitely doesn't go too far, okay? So you have to keep reloading. I think we're going to get a little bit heavier handed in a few spots just to get a little bit more contrast. So I'm still drying it off, but leaving it just a tiny bit wetter. Okay. Oh, I think that's going to look so great with that. Okay, we're going to let this dry, and then we will put a top coat on this. Okay, our foil adhesive is completely dry, and you can always just even test with your finger. It should feel like a firm, hard tack. It shouldn't be sticky and getting off on you, okay? The other thing is I can kind of see my brush strokes in this direction, and because the foil has like a linear effect to it, I'm going to make sure that I put this on in the direction of my brush stroke. So if you could see any of them, I'm going to kind of hide them. Okay. With foils, you have what is called a carrier side and a transfer side, and you always want to see the pretty side facing up, okay? because that is the plastic. Now this foil, as you can see, loves to roll up. So I'm gonna leave one side, let's move this out of the way, on my roll, and I'm going to kind of back roll the other side because that has a tendency to keep it flatter. And again, let's make sure I'm getting this on as straight as I can. And my foil is not as large, okay, as my project, because I think this is like a 14-inch round. So I'm gonna have to put another piece up here and seam that in. So that'll be great to be able to show you how to do that as well. So I'm taking a plastic scrub brush. It is just a regular like nail brush. I keep finding these at the Dollar Tree. They're great when they wear out. It's a very inexpensive purchase. And as you can see, hopefully on the camera, as I'm transferring this foil, you can see it going like a white color. That means the foil transfer is lifting away from the carrier sheet. Now, not all foils will do this, but it's pretty cool when they do. That way you know that it's transferred and transferred well. So I'm going to keep scrubbing all the way across, okay, until I get to the end. And then I'm still going to do what I call a little peak, okay? You might get what we call a little over release on the edge because it's such an easy release foil. So you might have to just brush some of those fuzzy edges away. And I tried not to get a perfect line here because I rather have a more imperfect line to have the foil match up to. I think it just looks more natural than getting a straight line. So I'm okay with this being irregular. And then just keep pulling back and making sure that everything transferred. Okay, it looks like I have a little spot here that didn't transfer, so I'm going to cut a piece off. I'm just going to put it over that area. I'm just going to rub with my finger so that it feels in. And then we're going to do this last section here, okay? So I'm going to cut off the area that I already used because now that's all clear and we don't want that to get stuck in there. We definitely can use up our corner pieces, but I want to grab another section here. Okay, I want to make sure also that I'm putting the foil on the same direction, okay? So I'm not going to flip it. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up this direction, okay? Because sometimes patterns can have a little bit of a direction to them, and you don't want to find that out once you transfer. So make sure each sheet that you use, you're laying it down in the same exact direction, okay? Look at that. Okay, that covered so pretty. And like I said, you might get a little bit of a fuzzy edge just because they're so easy to transfer. But now we have our base sign here that looks like a gorgeous piece of weathered wood. Okay, this is so stunning. The other thing you can do is take a little toothbrush and just scrub around your edge. Get rid of all those little loose pieces because if you don't have any adhesive on the edge, all of those little fuzzy pieces that are coming off that I call over release, you should be able to just remove them, okay? So the toothbrush comes in handy. Again, another Dollar Tree purchase, okay? Dollar Tree comes in very handy with some of my projects. Okay, so I'm just brushing off all those little loose pieces and look how that has come out. I want to let this get a little bit closer for you guys, so hopefully you can see the distressing that I did with just dry brushing over the top. This is going to be gorgeous. So we're going to take our Modern Masters Master Clear Supreme. This is an exterior rated product that also has UV. So I'm going to clear coat both the hello and the round sign with this. I'm going to put on 2 coats so that we have full coverage and I know that this will weather well outside. And to finish it off, it's always fun to grab, see if I can grab this here, a little bit of greenery, okay, that we're going to add to this. And I think we're going to finish it off. If I can open this, let's see. Should have had that opened already. With this beautiful ribbon, okay? So I am not the most talented at this, but I'm gonna try. Okay, so let's get this ready to go and we'll try to finish it off. Okay, I think I've gathered all the goodies to finish this off. And remember, I did put on our Masters Clear, Master Clear Supreme. Okay, so Modern Masters Master Clear Supreme. Let's try to spit that out well. As my top coat to protect everything. So the sign and the hello have been done. I have some tacky glue to get our hello on there. And I think I'm gonna flip this around so that I can try and get this on level, okay? And we're just, I know that part of the O and the H, okay, let's get that down there, are going to be off of the edge. So I'm not gonna put glue all the way to that edge. Okay, so I'm hitting the spots I think we're gonna need. I'll drag a little bit of this to those other areas of just trying to make sure I don't have glue seeping out everywhere, okay? So I'm trying to be neat. We'll see. And let's get this flipped over without getting glue all over my hands. And I'm gonna have it low, and I just wanted to let it hang off a little bit on either side. I'm gonna get our greenery out of the way there. Okay, I think we're good. I'm gonna push that into place. That looks so cute on there. Okay, so I've gathered a bunch of stuff here. All I did was cut the ends of that ribbon. I used a little bit of raffia to tie the center because I thought the raffia would look cute with that. And then I just had a bundle of greenery, okay, that I've just kind of cut off and grabbed. And I'm gonna try and put this on, trying to figure out our center here, okay? And I'm gonna use my staple gun to get this on here, because that way I know it will be on well, okay? And then we're gonna use our beautiful ribbon to hide that. And then if we need to, we can always put in some more greenery towards the center. Now I'm gonna go back to my hot glue gun because I figured that would be best to get that ribbon on there. And now I can grab some of the smaller little snippets here. No laughing, guys. I said this was not my true forte, okay? I like to make the signs and then let somebody else finish them off, okay? So we are just gonna try and put a few more of these little pieces in with the hot glue and hopefully not burn my fingers. Let's see if we can get that to set. And then just play with the ribbon a little bit. And I love hot glue, man. That stuff sets really, really super fast. Okay, I think I need to bend out some of my flowers here. I know we're not completely super set, but you guys, that is pretty darn cute, and that didn't take much time. So I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial and look forward to having more with you. Make sure to check the description below for all the materials and supplies, and do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming tutorials.